I'm Damien Quentin. I lead the ESG practice for Copperleaf in the Americas, and I'm going to talk about environmental justice and how energy companies can use Copperleaf solutions to build equitable investment strategies. Environmental justice refers to everyone being treated fairly when it comes to environmental impacts. Some examples of injustices are higher leak rates of natural gas in lower income neighborhoods and greater exposure to vehicle emissions in communities near highways, which are often associated with lower incomes. Strategies to mitigate these environmental impacts include, for example, replacing natural gas with either hydrogen or electrification and building more electric vehicle infrastructure. But when strategies are executed in ways that affect certain populations over others, that environmental injustice can be exacerbated. With the energy transition underway, federal and state policymakers are starting to require consideration of equity and environmental justice as an explicit objective of utility regulation. This means that regulators are already asking questions around environmental justice, and we've already seen large projects denied by regulators because of inadequate consideration of environmental impact on vulnerable populations. In addition to regulatory requirements, there's also strong incentive to show equitable investment planning to help build trust and strengthen relationships with external stakeholders like regulators or customers. We can think of this in terms of social capital, which describes an organization's resources in terms of trust and the impacts of that trust on collaborations and mutual support. As examples, companies can increase social capital through better public relations, community engagement, and demonstrating shared values. And ultimately, it helps create financial capital by building stronger trust and relationships, which lead to process efficiencies and a more resilient business. In practice, defining communities impacted by environmental justice should be done by engaging with community representatives and stakeholders. But early steps can be taken very easily with data that's readily available. As an example, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency created a tool called EJScreen for environmental justice screening and mapping in the United States. Anyone can use it to look at the geographic distribution of socioeconomic indicators like income, race, or education to help define the communities to include in your strategy. Then you can take, for example, emissions data and see how that's distributed across the same communities. That kind of geospatial mapping helps define an environmental justice baseline. From there, you can use Copperleaf to model the impact of your investment plans against that baseline and compare different scenarios to understand and communicate strategies that account for environmental justice. You can also calculate the correlation between, say, emissions and lower income, and then build a strategy where the only investment plans you consider are the ones that reduce that correlation between negative environmental impacts and specific populations. It's easy then to extend the same methodology to other equity metrics like outage rates, electrification access, or asset risk exposure. In this way, you can demonstrate the tangible impacts of your planning on more vulnerable communities and build concrete plans to achieve your environmental, social, and governance objectives.